Pastor, how are you today?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great, thank you. Well, 10 years is a great reason for celebration. There's lots to be thankful for. How did you get started with Teen Challenge?
Well, I can definitely tell you that nothing like this was on the radar when I was growing up. As a young kid, no one was in ministry in my family. We never really went to church a whole lot. So being an only child growing up, I was just kind of like running around, I guess, being what you'd call normal. And I guess I did well in high school and in college like other kids. But everywhere I went, addiction seemed to start to follow me. I got caught up in drinking, and then ultimately the last couple of years prior to going to Teen Challenge as a student with drugs. There was a divorce, there were miles of wreckage, to be honest. And as a last-ditch effort to save my life, I went to Teen Challenge in San Antonio to a men's center and found the meaning of life. And to cap it off, I met the love of my life, my wife, Kim Flanagan. In fact, her and I both got well as students on that particular campus. And, I prayed to the Lord for a marriage, a wife, and a family. And that's what he gave me. She has two beautiful little girls, and they were 4 and 6 years old.
So how did you and Kim start on your own, starting Teen Challenges?
We opened a Teen Challenge Center in Houston as our first assignment in full-time ministry. I mean, you talk about newlyweds right out of the gate, just green as can be. But the Lord blessed that. And after a couple of years, the Lord called us to go open our own Teen Challenge Center from scratch in Arkansas. We noticed that of all the teen challenges across the country, of the over 200 of them, there were none for adult women in the state of Arkansas, in the state of Missouri at the time, even the state of Nebraska. So we felt called to go fulfill a need that the Lord may have, and went to Arkansas to open our first women's center. Then our second center, the Lord called us to open about a year after our first center, was Springfield, Missouri. Then a year later, Knoxville, Tennessee. Then about a year later, Brandon, Mississippi. When we opened the Brandon, Mississippi Center, we had an opportunity to move down here and to raise our girls full time. That's been one of the joys of my life, to be able to see my wife raising her daughters. It's making me admire her and fall in love with her all over again. Our families were in full support of us venturing out in ministry. Even though it was a little scary, they were all behind us.
And what about some of the opportunities you've been able to be a part of by being in ministry?
The opportunities have been amazing.
What about the people that you've been able to meet through ministry?
The people that the Lord has led me to meet and even be mentored by along the way has been pretty tremendous. And we've been really fortunate to have some amazing team members along the way. They're almost like family. There's Kate Riggs, who went from an entry-level bookkeeper position with us to getting her bachelor's, then getting her master's in business while working here. In fact, she kind of, in my opinion, shows herself worthy of CFO of the Year. She's been fantastic for us. She specializes in leadership training. In fact, she's taken the leadership concept and kind of engulfed herself into it in a professional level. Then there's the amazing servant Ray Clark, who helped us evolve from 101 ways to make a nail cross to help his obsessed pastor find a completely new way of making products. Kim Boulding has been such a loyal superstar from the very beginning. She's been with us for about 12 years now. She's always willing, and she always says yes with whatever we need. She's such a servant in this ministry.
Pastor, did you ever dream that it would be something this size?
I was never really going for size. I was following God to the next step I felt He wanted us to go. You know, His Word says to seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. So we were just kind of seeking Him. We just kept growing and growing and growing. And what ended up being in 4 different states, 7 centers, 3 thrift stores, a shop, and 2 corporate offices later ends up being a ministry that God has built despite ourselves. And while we may be a crazy group, it's our group. It's our family. We try to fit in a little bit of fun anytime we can.
Hey, my name is Kate Riggs. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of Teen Challenge Women's Ministries, and I just want to congratulate you guys on the choice that you have made to come into the program. Teen Challenge has done a lot for me. I didn't go through the program like what you guys are doing right now, but I did join Teen Challenge almost 9 years ago, and through that, God has restored everything to me. I had lost everything. I made some bad choices, and I wound up losing my family, my home, my vehicle, I mean literally everything. And over the last 9 years almost, God has given all of that back. You know, the biggest thing that has helped me and that has changed my life is my relationship with God since I came to Teen Challenge. I love God. I have an intimate relationship with God. It's nothing like what I had before. I have peace and joy and love and things that I just didn't even think really truly existed. God has given me those things and has shown me so much. So that's available to you. So what is it that God has placed in your heart? What's the dream He's placed in your heart? Understand that we will help you to achieve that. We will help you get that. Just let us know. This is more than a 13-month residential program. This is a program that literally is the stage for the rest of your life. It can catapult you into whatever it is that God has called you to do, and we want to help you to get that.
Well, I am currently the Chief Marketing Officer for our corporate offices, and I started back in 2006 as a student in Teen Challenge in Houston, Texas, where Pastor Kim and Jarrod Flanagan were my directors at that time. And when I came to Teen Challenge, I was homeless, I was eating out of dumpsters, and I'd lost my family. As I went through the program, I just can remember the passion that Pastor and Miss Kim had for the lives of these ladies. And it began to resonate into my heart. I'm like, you know what? I want to do this. And God, if you'll save me and just give me a relationship with my children, I will do this for the rest of my life, helping ladies. My heart is still the ladies. It's leading ladies to have a successful life, clean and sober for the rest of their life. This is the next chapter. It's hard, but it's worth it.
Hi, my name is Kim Flanagan, and I'm the COO and co-founder of Teen Challenge Women's Ministries with my husband, Pastor Jarrod. From the outside, everything looked great in my life. I mean, I grew up in church, had both parents that loved me. I went to college, became an educator. I didn't think that I would ever need Teen Challenge. How'd I get here? I was in a very unhealthy marriage, and after the birth of our second daughter, my life went into a downward spiral quickly and tragically. I lost absolutely everything that meant anything to me. I lost my children, I lost my parents, I lost home, car. I had nothing and I had nowhere to turn. I also believed that my life was worth nothing and my family would be better off if I just weren't in this world. So it did lead to a suicide attempt, but it's only by God's grace that I'm still here today. I lost who I was and whose I was. I ran from God because I had no faith that I could have any quality of life after everything that I'd done and all I'd lost. I was court ordered to the first female program in Teen Challenge, the San Antonio Center, and went in, and I was amazed by the love and compassion from the staff and all of those people. They knew what we were, they knew what we did and why we were there, and they just loved us. I was immersed in the Word of God and learning what a real, authentic relationship with God actually was. He really loved me in spite of the mess I'd made. He answered prayers of those around me, and He began answering some of my own. The transformation that I was going through was huge. I also knew that God was calling me into the ministry that didn't just save my life, it gave me a purpose, the purpose for my life. I had to help other women. I had to help other moms, daughters, sisters, aunts. I had to let people know that this is possible, it's real, the change, the healing, all of it is possible, and I had to share that. If I can help one woman, one female, and help her have that mustard seed to take a step in faith and say, I think this is for me. I'm done. I'm over it. I want help. I don't want to live this way anymore. I want my children back. I want my parents to be proud of me again. I want a life. I want a life, and the way I'm living is not that. This is where you can get it. This is where it is. Teen Challenge is the vehicle that God uses and that He used to save my life. I just love helping women get their lives back by loving them toward Jesus, and He handles all the rest.
I joined Teen Challenge Women's Ministries 5 years ago. After working for Teen Challenge of Arizona for 3 years, I came to meet Pastor Jarrod, and after a short conversation with him, I knew that there was something that was interesting about this ministry. I came out to Mississippi and I was sold. I fell in love with the center, fell in love with the people here. My wonderful wife, Patty, who now works for the ministry, came back into my life in 2009. I was in a very, very bad place. I had spent about 12 years in a bottle of vodka, and I had lost everything in life. I had lost my family, my friends. I had given up on my job. I had walked away from everything, and I stumbled my way into Teen Challenge. And I actually got on my knees and sat in a chapel, and I just said, if you're really there, God, if you are really out there, come into my life and take this burden of alcohol off of me. And I woke up the next morning in my bunk bed, and I didn't have to drink anymore. The feeling and the anxiety I had for alcohol was gone, and I can only say by the power of God, by the power of Jesus Christ. We started the ministry with a small cross shop, and basically with one table saw, one band saw, one drill press, and from that the vision of the nail cross grew and grew. 2 years later, we have a fully functioning shop with 4 CNC routers. Every time an item comes off the machine, it begins a journey, and every time it goes from one station to another woman adds a little bit of character, a little bit of love, and a little bit of finesse to it, and that's how it becomes transformed from just a simple piece of wood to this beautiful sculpture.
What I'm so excited about is not only the more than 120 students that we're commonly helping at one time, but how about the 50 plus people that are on our staff that are staying sober, as well. So many are getting sober, many are staying sober. It's a far cry from just maybe the glimmer in our eye that we had back in 2008 when we barely started. I'm so thankful for the Lord and His protection and His power that's really been shown along the way. At one time, very early, I thought maybe I would be like the pastor of a church. And if you look around when we're all together, like at our annual conferences, I can see that He's built that church.
Pastor, thank you so much for your time today. I've enjoyed being able to find out everything about the ministry. It's so interesting, and we're looking for another great 10 years and beyond.